Today, I'm going to be teaching you I Wish There Were Fewer Things to Remember, Less versus Fewer, by Harvey Alexander. This is located on week 17, day Sunday, page 70. So, I wish there were fewer things to remember. Today I'm going to be covering the differences between less versus fewer, the proper way to apply less into a sentence, and the proper way to apply fewer into a sentence. And then I'm going to provide you a tip to remembering when to use less and fewer, followed by a mini quiz. Alright, let's get started. Less versus fewer. They're very easy to mix up. Basically, they mean the same thing, the opposite of more, and they are used differently. Less is used with mass nouns, things that can't be counted individually. They represent a large amount of stuff. For example, if I had less clutter, my desk would be cleaner. Another example could be, there's less lava on the Big Island than there was last year. Unless you're superhuman and you can count lava, I mean, that's perfectly fine with me, you can change it to fewer, but other than that, it would be less. Fewer is used with count nouns, items that can be counted individually, and you're able to count the objects out loud. For example, I should eat fewer M&Ms. Another example could be, there are fewer resources available for the development of Apple products because of the natural disaster in Japan. As you can see, I provided you an image of the natural disaster. Let's carry on. Hopefully you guys have enough time to copy this down. Okay. Here's a quick tip. Less water means fewer fish. Remember, less and fewer by referring to lake that is low on water. Less and lake both begin with the letter L. Fewer and fish both begin with the letter F. For example, there is less water in the lake. We'll have fewer fish for dinner. If you can notice, less and lake, because you can't count the water in a lake, unless once again you're superhuman, which is perfectly fine with me. But that's just a quick way to remember the differences. Fewer, you can actually count out loud fish, and I provided you a picture of what it would look like to have fewer fish in a lake. And obviously you can see no fish, but it's just a nice picture that I picked out. Now let's carry on. Time for a pop quiz. So let's agree, nobody cares about this part, but let's continue anyways. Now, for whoever is presenting this, I would ask you to please pause the video for time that it takes for the students to answer the question. And for the students, I'm going to ask you to take out a paper, if you haven't already, pen or pencil, and copy the sentence, and insert the correct answer within that sentence. You have choices between fewer or less. So basically, fill in the blank. Now, let's get started. Day at the imaginary beach while in class. When I went to the beach, there were blank rocks on the sand. There were blank people that needed to be saved at the beach because of the low tides. Blank trees fell today because the wind wasn't blowing strong. There was blank water in the bay because of the low tides. There were blank casualties because of the low tides. So now you can go ahead and pause the video so that students may fill out the answer. And I'll hold off and wait a little while, just in case. Okay, assuming that everybody has now finished, I'm going to flip to the answer key. So, hopefully you'll have enough time to write down the answer. The answer key. When I went to the beach, there were less rocks on the sand. Congratulations. I mean, if you're one of those people that just go to the beach and count out all the sand, that's fine with me, but honestly, I thought this question would be common sense. There were fewer people that needed to be saved at the beach because of the low tides. Fewer, meaning that there were less people that they had to count for casualties at the beach. Fewer trees fell today because the wind wasn't blowing strong. I chose fewer as the correct answer because it represented a set amount of trees that might have been logged. I mean, you could use less if there was nothing being counted and there were constant trees falling, but if there's just maybe one or two a day, fewer would be the correct answer. The next question. There was less water in the bay because of the low tides. This one is less because this represents a mass amount. And there were fewer casualties because of the low tides. I picked fewer because maybe they log the amount of times somebody gets injured or how many casualties are found at the beach. So, thanks, and I hope you learned something new. And I hope you were able to catch everything that I just said. But thank you for listening, and I'm going to bed now. Have a nice day.